Hey, it's Drybear. And today we're going to talk all about the Iron Throne, which is a challenging encounter in Act 3 of Baldur's Gate 3 that I've been requested to make a guide for. Now, I'm wrapping up my third full playthrough of the game, and I've come through the Iron Throne multiple different ways with different perspectives and different ideologies on how I'm playing that specific playthrough. So we're going to walk through the counter itself, what you need to know about it, and what choices that you made previously in the playthrough that might affect your interaction with this location in the game, especially if you are in tactician mode, which makes it a little bit more challenging than the other modes. And yes, this comes with a spoiler warning, so if you're someone who wants to avoid spoilers for Act 3 of Baldur's Gate 3, then you're welcome to click off the video now. But first, you should come hang out with me on live stream. I'm live every single day on twitch.tv/Drybear. If you don't come hang out with me in the community on Twitch, then the next time you go to use a fan because it's too hot, it'll be too hot with the fan off of you, but it'll be too cold with the fan directly on you without finding any middle ground. All right, so again, spoiler warning for Act 3. We're going to talk about the Iron Throne inside of Baldur's Gate, the city, and everything that you can encounter with this specific encounter. Now, the first thing that you'll know about the Iron Throne, it is related to Gortash's storyline. And so it is related to being able to disable the Steel Watch, his mechanized sentries that you need to help make his encounters easier, or to betray him if that's something that you're trying to do. But you need to find a location that you can utilize for destroying the Steel Watch Foundry. And there's two different ways to destroy the Foundry to disable the Steel Watch. The first is to use the Gondians. There's basically the Gondians and the Ironhead Gnomes are able to create explosives strong enough to destroy the Steel Watch Foundry. The Gondians are being forced to work for Gortash making the Steel Watch, and their families are being held in this prison, the Iron Throne, and so you have to go down here, save the families, and release them so that they will help you destroy the Steel Watch. The other option is just to use the Ironhead Gnomes. If you rescue them in Act 2 and they will create a bomb, you can go down there and blow it up, and that's all good. But to find the Iron Throne, it is inside Flynn's cargo in the Grey Harbor on the east side of the harbor. There's a bonus side quest that goes along with this as well, which is along with the Umberly, the mermaid people that are just on the west side of the Grey Harbor. They'll want you to come find out, because basically they ran into a mechanized whale that killed one of their sea folk, one of their tribe, and it turns out that it's this submersible that did that, and you want to get revenge for that. There's some cool items you can get from that quest line as well as a chest and even a weapon as well, which can be super cool. Now, once you get inside, you will basically have a certain amount of turns to rescue people that are inside of this. And as far as I know, there is no way to enter the Iron Throne without triggering the explosion. When you first arrive at the Iron Throne, Gortash will greet you and say, hey, if you continue, I'm going to blow it up. If you leave, we'll be fine. And those are your only two options. And I have not discovered nor read or seen any option other than those two. So if you decide to dock at the Iron Throne and enter, he will trigger the detonation sequence to make it blow up. If you leave, everything is fine. And so when you enter, you have basically 5 or 6 turns, depending on what difficulty you're on, to rescue as many people as you possibly can. But there's also some secrets in here that you may want to be aware of in order to gain access to those in that limited time that you have. And there's also some side quest content that you may have done prior to coming here that will affect your interaction with this. The first is that if you interacted with Omeluum in Act 1, Myconid Colony, and you drank his potion by getting the mushrooms from the Arcane Tower and trying to destroy the parasite that way, Omeluum will actually be here in the Iron Throne in one of the rooms, and he'll talk to you when you arrive. And this is something that I actually recommend doing, in my 4th playthrough and beyond. I will be doing this going forward because he makes this encounter a lot easier. What happens is Omeluum is in one of the test chambers in the back of the Iron Throne. And when you go and you rescue him, you have to get a character in 5 turns over to him, help him using the help action and get him out of the chair. But once you do that, he has a special ability on his ability bar that allows him to teleport himself and one other person directly to the escape shuttle to get off of the Iron Throne. So no matter what, even if it's the last turn before the place blows up, Omeluum can grab someone, teleport them out, and himself out and get out as well, which is super cool. He'll also reward you if you go back to the Society of Brilliance Lodge in Baldur's Gate with some reward bonuses as well. If you do save him, that's a cool option that is there. The main two reasons why you're coming to Iron Throne in the first place is because of the Gondians to save their families, but also because Will's dad, Duke Ravenguard, is brought here as a prisoner, and there's some cool options you can unlock if you'd save him as well. Another cool benefit as well that makes this encounter even easier, especially if you're trying to rescue Duke Ravenguard, is that if you allow Mizora to help, which means that if you unlock Will's storyline, Mizora offers to help you by giving you the location of Will's dad, as well as helping you escape with him. If you accept that and sign the deal, when you come in here and you go to save Duke Ravenguard, Mizora will appear, give Duke Ravengard like 1,000,000 movement and give him free movement, give him an extra action, freedom of movement, and all that. And then he can basically escape from the farthest side of the prison in a single turn because you have Mizora's help. So there's some considerations to go with there. But there's also some loot here. So if you look at the map of the Iron Throne, it's a pretty even equilateral distance here. And you can see, especially if you have Omeluum's help, all of the survivors or the prisoners here will be marked on your map. Most of them are pretty easy to get as long as you activate them and get them out early. By the way, it's much easier if you want to lower the difficulty on this because it does scale up the enemies. And on the case of Tactician, you'll have less turns to use to get everyone out here. But the things I want to point out is in the top left corner, there are 2 rooms with a nice amount of gold in them. This room here in the top left, and then this room here as well, which you can have. Basically, what I usually do when I do the Iron Throne is I'll come down and I'll send characters in the 4 different directions. I'll send one character here to the right. This character will come get Duke Ravengard or the Gondians that are over here. I have one character that goes down this way, and you can release the prisoners on this side. Then they can have them come over here into the test chamber and save Omeluum. And what's great about this path is if you save Omeluum, as soon as he gets a turn, you can teleport both of you out immediately because he has that ability to get you off of the Iron Throne immediately. Then I have one character go down here to grab these. And I would actually argue that this is the hardest path, the left path, the west path here, because not only are these, you can't really get these both in a single turn unless you have multiple Misty Steps and some scrolls that you can use as well. But not only that, but there's also 2 of the Murloc dudes in here that are both ranged, and they use Ensnare almost every single time on their first turn, which is super annoying. So you'll be able to get in here. You're going to take a good amount of damage, especially if you're on Tactician, and they will be rooting you a good bit as well. And then getting both of those is a bit of a challenge. And then I usually have one character come down here. They go around, and then they jump over, and then you just have to use the lever on the wall to open these loot rooms. There's no like legendary item in here. There's no like crazy piece of gear. This is all just gold on the far side, and you get a scroll and all that. It's probably, about 1,500, 2,000 gold. It's not the end of the world. The biggest value here is just getting out the 2 main story targets and then getting all the Gondians out if you possibly can as well. So getting all that done is super nice. Now keep in mind that the best strategy, even on the highest difficulties, is just to ignore the merfolk. Just get out of their way, get onto the ship, because any character that is left behind when you reach the end of the turn, like 1 turn remaining, will immediately die when the ship leaves. But as long as you have 1 playable character in your party on the ship when it leaves, you can resurrect the other 3. So getting 1 out means you won't fail the encounter. You just want to make sure that you get as many out as you possibly can, and there are benefits to doing more from that perspective as well. So I recommend splitting your player party up, going in multiple directions, lowering the difficulty if you need. If you plan to on your next playthrough, try to save Omeluum. Like drink his potion in Act 1 so that he's here, because he can just teleport you, and then you can just have him go right back into the ship and teleport another person out on his next turn. And maybe even if you do it early, you can have him do a 3rd person as well, which makes this a lot easier to deal with. And there are benefits to getting Duke Ravengard out as well, if that's something you're trying to accomplish for your playthrough. Now, when it comes to the nets that you get ensnared, there's many different ways in the game to break out of ensnare, but I found the best way to do this is just by using fire. If you take slashing or fire damage when you have a net on you and you're rooted to the ground, it will break the net and get you out of it. And the best thing I found is by this point in the game, you should have tons of alchemist fire, which is basically those orange potions that you throw on the ground that has like a light napalm effect. The damage that they deal is very little. It's like 1, 2, or 3 damage. It's more just about causing the fire. It's not an explosive. It doesn't do a lot of upfront damage, but it will ignite things and it's useful for spreading fire, detonating grease or oil or that sort of thing. So I use those as a way to I just throw the Alchemist Fire on myself. It does like 1 damage, burns off the ensnare, and then you can run and keep going in the direction that you need, and you can ignore the merfolk. They give decent XP if you do want to kill some, but the time limit on your activities down here is so limiting that I wouldn't recommend it. Just get to the ship as fast as you can and get out. There's not really much time to do anything else in here. Now, I've tried looting and interacting with as much as I possibly can on each run to see if there's any major secrets here, and that's really just it. The victory is getting as many people out as you want, or you can just let them all die if you're playing an evil playthrough. And then, of course, getting the loot stashes in the back is quite nice, especially if you have a trader that you have good rep with. You can get some good value out of that. Can raise the value of the jewelry that you get out of there. And then, of course, getting them out. But the big secrets are probably just Omeluum and then Mizora, which can both make the encounter a lot easier once you get down here. So that is the Iron Throne, the prison in Act 3. If you found value in the video, leave a like down below. Leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people. And I will see you on my live stream. If you enjoyed yourself today, leave a like down below. You can support me and my work on Patreon and view Patreon exclusive content. Link in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.